When you think of interrogation in the Second World War, you may conjure up images of high-stakes scenarios, violence, torture, and suffering. However, perhaps the best interrogator of all time came from this period, and his legacy lives on to this day, and his methods may go against absolutely everything you think is necessary to extract information. On a crisp December day in 1907, in Rustenburg, East Prussia, the story of Hans Scharff begins. The second son of Hans Hermann Scharff, a Prussian army officer, and Else Scharff, he would carve a unique path in the pages of time. Raised in the Grand Villa Jan, Hans discovered his love for art in the cobblestone streets of Leipzig. Little did he know that these early passions would shape his destiny. As World War II loomed, Scharff found himself swept into a storm of uncertainty. Stranded in Germany, he was conscripted into the Wehrmacht and was destined for the Russian front, possibly the most dangerous position in the German army. When Margaret Scharff learned of her husband's destination, she intervened. Angry at the thought of a fluent English-speaking German soldier's life being wasted at the Eastern Front, she talked her way into the office of a German general in Berlin and pleaded her husband's case, convincing the general of the error which was about to take place. The general sent a telegram to Scharff's Panzer unit, informing his superiors that Scharff was to be transferred immediately to the Dolmetscher Company 12, the interpreters' company, based in Wiesbaden, to serve as a German-English interpreter. Trains carried him to Mainz, where Scharff immersed himself in British nuances and military organisation. Unbeknownst to him, these skills would become the key to a realm of secrets. In the heart of the Luftwaffe's interrogation centre at Oberrosso, Scharff's true calling emerged. With no formal training, he became an assistant interrogation officer, unravelling the mysteries of captured Allied Air Force personnel. His technique and delicate dance of empathy and camaraderie stood in stark contrast to the harsh methods of the time. Scharff became the interrogator who never raised a hand, yet unlocked the secrets of many. A prisoner was frequently warned that unless he could produce information beyond names, ranks, and serial numbers, such as the name of his unit and airbase, the Luftwaffe would have no choice but to assume he was a spy and turn him over to the Gestapo for questioning. For Scharff, this technique worked well. In addition to initially preying upon his prisoners' fears of the infamous Gestapo, he portrayed himself as their closest ally in their predicament, telling them that while he would like nothing more than to see them safely deposited in a prisoner of war camp, his hands, he claimed, were tied unless the prisoner gave him the few details that he requested to help him correctly identify the prisoner as a true prisoner of war. After a prisoner's fears had been allayed, Scharff acted as a good friend, including sharing jokes, homemade food items, and occasionally alcoholic beverages. He was fluent in English and knowledgeable about British and some American customs, which helped him gain the trust and friendship of many of his prisoners. In addition, he could empathize with the captured Allied aviators, drawing on the fact that he was not only married to an English woman, but also a son-in-law of a World War I British flying ace. Some high-profile prisoners were treated to outings to German airfields. One prisoner of war was even allowed to take a Bf-109 fighter for a trial run. tea with German fighter aces, swimming pool excursions, and luncheons, among other things. Prisoners were treated well, medically speaking, at the nearby Hermark Hospital, and some prisoners of war were occasionally allowed to visit their comrades at this hospital for company's sake, as well as the better meals provided there. Scharff was best known for taking his prisoners on strolls through the nearby woods, first having them swear an oath of honour that they wouldn't attempt to escape during their walk. He chose not to use these nature walks as a time to ask his prisoners obvious military-related questions directly, but instead relied on the prisoner of war's desire to speak to anyone outside of isolated captivity about informal, generalized topics. Prisoners often volunteered information the Luftwaffe had instructed Scharff to acquire, frequently without realizing they'd done so. Scharff's prisoners were not just captives, they were companions on a journey through the unexpected. High-profile names such as Gabi Gabreski and Hubert Semka walked the path of camaraderie with a man they once considered an enemy. In 1948, Scharff's journey took him across the Atlantic to the United States, where he was asked to testify in Lieutenant Monteith's treason trial. While there, he met with various USAF officials and lectured about prisoner interrogation techniques at the Pentagon and other locales. Scharff's own techniques are taught in US military schools to this day. Post-war, a different canvas awaited Scharff. Mosaics, a fusion of art and history, became his medium. From Cinderella's castle at Disney to the California State Capitol, his creations adorned spaces with tales of beauty. In the mosaic of life, Scharff invited his daughter-in-law, Monica, to share the artist's brush. Together they painted stories on walls, floors, and facades, leaving a legacy that echoed through time. As the sun set on September the 10th, 1992, Hans Scharff left behind a world transformed by his art, his compassion, and the mysteries he unravelled without torture. His legacy, and testament to the power of understanding, lives on. Hans Scharff's life was a journey where art, war, humanity intersected in a tale of compassion and connection. If you enjoy history, fashion, culture, art, and more, then please consider subscribing to the English Gentleman ASMR.